Bobby Petrino is out.
It's not a personal thing, it's a business thing.
So what's next for the U of L football program?
We need the players to want to win and want to be here and enjoy football.
Who could take Petrino's place and how much the school will have to pay to get rid of him?
It was such a pleasant day, a little bit warmer, sunny, so nice. But it's all downhill from here when this cold air could transition us from rain to snow. Ahead in your forecast.
I'm speechless. That's all I can say.
It was a moment veterans and their families will never forget. Their emotional reaction to Jeffersontown's new Freedom Wall.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joel Skipper.
And I'm Hayden Ristevsky. Bobby Petrino is out as U of L's head football coach.
Petrino's second stint with Louisville ending with 2 games left in the regular season. Tom Lane, John Lewis, and Eric Crawford join us now from Studio B to break down the decision. Guys.
Vince Tyre made the move this morning, letting Petrino go along with his personal assistant, Andy Wagner, and saying he didn't want any additional distractions. Tyre also let go the 3 assistant coaches related to Petrino, Nick Petrino, LD Scott, and Ryan Beard.
So Tyre said that Lorenzo Ward will take over as the interim coach for these final 2 games, both at home against North Carolina State and Kentucky. Eric Crawford joins us now. Eric, Tyre was planning on waiting until after the season to evaluate things, but as you said in your column Friday night, it was time.
It was time, and he called an audible. He used a good football term for us, so that's nice in all of that. Look, this thing had gotten to be too big a mess, and it gotten to be too big a hole. And what happens in these situations, Rick Bozich said it happened with Tubby Smith, it happened with Tom Crean, you lose the fan base, and there's not much way to get people back once you lose them. He lost the team, he lost the fan base, and today loses his job.
Vince Tyre said it was clear the players were not responding. These are his thoughts on the latest disappointing effort, the 54-23 loss Friday at Syracuse.
It was a disappointing effort. And when you have 10 penalties and 4 turnovers in the first half against a team that we've handled pretty well in most recent years and handled well at the end of last year, and I don't think our talent slipped that far down and they're slipped that far up. So at some point you gotta assess that, and that something's missing, and in this case I felt like we need to work with a different time frame, and it's today.
Eric, one of the great mysteries is not just that Louisville was losing this year, but just how badly they were losing and how bad they were on both sides of the ball. Yeah. Do you have any theory on what happened?
Well, I wish I had a better one, but they were historically bad. And that was a big part that played into Bobby Petrino being let go. I think with this team, first off, it wasn't good to start against Alabama. They got beat down very early. They were a younger team with some important pieces that were young guys that lost confidence early. That played a role in it. I think Bobby was not his usual self. I think his assistant coaching staff just kind of reached a point where it was weak, and it all kind of came together to form a perfect storm. At some point, people just started to check out. Not sure Bobby himself didn't.
Yeah. Now the top candidate certainly appears to be former Trinity quarterback, former U of L quarterback Jeff Brom. He's in his 2nd year at Purdue. Is there anybody else on this list, or is he the list?
You know, the main name that other on the list is Dino Babers, I think, of Syracuse, but I don't even think it's worth getting in and uprooting the lives of all these other people because this job search and the next coach of the University of Louisville, it goes through Jeff Brom. If he wants it and the school can make it happen, it's going to be his job. If he doesn't want it, then we can start talking about other people. But he is the guy, and he's who it should be, to be honest with you. He's got the ties here. He is the link to Schnellenberger, and he is in some ways, I think, as important a hire for this program as Schnellenberger was in his time.
Vince Tyre said he will not really pursue another coach until after that regular season, 2 weeks away. Eric will have much more with us coming up later in sports. Thank you, Eric. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
It's not going to be a cheap firing either. $14 million, in fact.
And talking about real money here, WDRB's Travis Ragsdale explains the price tag and where that money is coming from. Travis.
Yeah, John, like Tom said, $14 million over the next 3 years, plus what is left on this current year. Tyre said today that he believed he had the authority to make this decision without the approval of the athletics board. Ultimately, the biggest obstacle for Tyre in making this decision was the money. Back in 2016, Petrino signed a 7-year extension to his contract with then athletics director Tom Jurich. Part of that deal included this buyout, which essentially amounts to $4.5 million million per year for the next 3 years for Petrino. Tyree said today that will be paid in full. Tyree also said there were some contingency funds that he has set aside, but not enough to cover the full amount of this buyout.
I'm still comfortable that we have a revenue plan and donor base that will be supportive of building that balance sheet, building those endowments back to a place that makes me feel probably more comfortable.
Tyree said he spoke to U of L President Neely Bendapudi a few weeks ago about this situation, and then again yesterday. According to him, she did approve of this new move. Now, financially, the next interesting part of this is if they do decide to move forward with a well-established coach like Brom, it's possible that U of L will have to cover some of that buyout as well. Tom, John?
Thank you, Travis. Well, if it is Jeff Brom, that buyout's going to be $5 million.
All right, so that adds to things. Aaron Matus and Rick Bozich delve deeper into Brom as a possible candidate. And Anise McEwen checks into some player and fan reaction as well as coming up in sports. Both Rick and Eric have a number of terrific stories on the subject up right now on WDRB.com. Just go there and click on sports.
Today in the world of weather was a bit of an improvement from yesterday, but still not quite where we'd like to be this time of year. Temperatures now on the cold side. It's 39 in New Albany, 40 in the West End, 43 downtown, 40 degrees in Anchorage. As we zoom out, you're going to see more of those 30s to the north, touch warmer to the south. Munfordville's at 42, Madison at 32 right now, and that pattern holds true the farther we zoom out. So there's colder air to the north and to the west. Keep that in mind. Satellite and radar over the last couple of hours shows us some clouds moved in and some light rain south of Louisville. Really nothing major, and we're now drying out for the evening. So looking ahead to tomorrow morning, things start to get a little bit more interesting, right? The sunrise about 7:20. We're going to be right around the freezing mark about 6 o'clock. That transitions us to by 9 o'clock, middle 30s, but more clouds start to move in. Then rain rolls in a little bit later in the evening, 42 by about the lunch hour. Advanced Track is going to show you we do have an interesting setup beginning as early as tomorrow. So we start tonight. This is first thing tomorrow. The clouds roll in. Don't expect to see too much sunshine tomorrow. Then by the afternoon, the rain begins, and friends, some of you, not all of you, could see snow as early as tomorrow. We're going to time that out and look at totals ahead in your forecast.
A moment years in the making as Jeffersontown's Freedom Wall is unveiled for the first time.
And for veterans and their families, it was a moment they'll never forget.
May this be an inspiration for years to come.
They came by the hundreds.
Michael Hart, U.S. Coast Guard.
To remember those who gave some and the ones who gave all. For these families, November 11th is more than just a day on the calendar. They feel the weight, the significance of Veterans Day, and how important it is to those who served.
If it weren't for the people here, these people today, we wouldn't have done what we did.
Terry Deal is a Navy submarine veteran.
Good old J-Town.
He was right here at Veterans Memorial Park in Jeffersontown 24 years ago.
I was here for the first dedication when we spent quite a few years trying to get this park established.
Decades later,
time to light off my hand warmer.
He's back with his buddies to see a new part of the park's history for the very first time. The Freedom Wall.
It's just, I'm speechless. That's all I can say.
"15 panels of glass, spanning 60 feet, honoring all 5 branches of the military."
Well, following the ceremony, I was still teared up, and now that I've seen that, I'm really having a hard time talking.
And he wasn't alone.
A lot of emotion, some tears. Some people were just ecstatic about it.
Years of planning and effort went into the wall, down to each and every etch detail.
We're very proud of it and very humbled to have this wall out here.
Finished just in time for a Veterans Day ceremony that is sure to leave a lasting impact.
I think it's something they take away from here that they will never forget.
Officials say the park is still expanding with a Vietnam memorial scheduled to be added this spring.
Every year on Veterans Day, a wreath is laid at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. Today was no different. Robert Wilkie, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, laid the wreath at this morning's ceremony. The tradition is intended to honor and thank those who have served in the armed forces. Commemorations included inside the Memorial Amphitheater with a parade of colors and remarks by dignitaries. Every year back in the Derby City, a free breakfast for those who have fought to keep our country free. There was plenty to eat at the Churchill Downs VFW post during their annual Veterans Day breakfast this morning. For 2 hours, any veteran or current military member could enjoy eggs, biscuits and gravy, and muffins thanks to the VFW post and auxiliary 2921. Those who went say it was a great time to share stories and come together to honor our country.
It's important that we honor it because sometimes your veterans, as we're trying to blend in with society, sometimes get overlooked. Politicians like to talk real high, but here in the local communities and everything else, it's your veterans that are building your communities.
Girl Scouts from Valley Station also made sure the vets had a great breakfast.
We definitely want to thank all of the people who have served our country for their service. We would not be free without what you've done for us. Paying a toll is no fun, but some say it could be worse.
If we don't meet numbers, then we run into issues.
How truck companies are actually lowering tolls on the Ohio River bridges and why they don't mind paying them.
Plus, it's like a pacemaker for the brain, the new device that's giving some epilepsy patients their lives back.
WDRB News is sponsored by Winton and He Stand Law Group. Real lawyers.